In this video, we are going to create a TanStack Start Better Auth application. We'll create this sign-up page and also this login page fully functional where users can log in to their account and they're being redirected to the dashboard page where we have this Logout button. We'll also set up the Google provider so users can log in through their Google account without any problems. We'll go through the full implementation process using TanStack Start Better Auth, Drizzle, Neon and ShadCN without vibe coding strictly from the documentations. By the end of this video, you're going to get everything that we code together on a public GitHub repository. You have it in the description below. Although I really encourage you to do this step-by-step process together with me because it's really going to be valuable for your technical skills. I heard you guys about this one. I had a lot of comments asking for TanStack Start plus Better Auth. So let's go. First thing we need to do is to initialize a fresh copy of TanStack Start application. So we are in the documentation right here. I'm clicking on Docs, then from here to Getting Started and to TanStack Start CLI. Here we have the command that we need, pm create TanStack Start latest, and I'll run that one inside of my projects directory in my terminal. So now we are initializing TanStack Start. We need to choose a name for our project. So we'll name this one TanStack Start Better Auth Starter. And we'd like to use Tailwind. Yes, we'll use ESLint for this one and Nitro for deployment. And here we'll choose ShadCN. Because we need ShadCN for this project, we'll build login, sign-up pages, and buttons, and etc. And we don't want any examples. We'll just continue with initialization. Now we are installing all the dependencies via pm, and when that one is done, we can go to our new directory. It's called TanStack Start Better Auth Starter, and I'll just run pm dev. And on our localhost 3000, we have a fresh copy of TanStack Start application. We can now go back to the terminal, and here I'll open a new tab and type in code dot, which will open cursor code editor for our code base, and we are ready now to start coding. So from there, we are going to the Better Auth documentation. So we are already starting with authentication implementation, and I'm going here to Docs, from Docs to Installation, and here we have all the necessary steps that we need in order to implement Better Auth. So first thing we'll do, I'll just switch here to pm and I'll copy this pm add Better Auth and I'll paste that inside of my terminal. So we are adding our first dependency, and that's Better Auth dependency. Then we need to set our environment variables. So we need our Better Auth secret, and this is really cool with Better Auth. You can generate secret right here in the documentation, and we can just copy this one and we can go to our code, and here we need to create our .env file, and there we are pasting in our Better Auth secret. Then we need our Better Auth URL. That one is localhost 3000. You will change this on your application. So we are pasting that one as well, base URL of our app, and we can continue to create our Better Auth instance. So now we need to create this auth.ts file, and you can put it wherever you like. As we can see here in the documentation, we can put it under project root, lib directory, utils directory. We can nest it in any of these directories. What I would recommend is that what you start doing with the first Better Auth implementation, for example, I did it always in the lib directory, and I continue to do it like that because it's easier for me to remember and to know where are my files. So I'll create here again lib directory inside of our project, lib right here in the root, and I'll create there auth.ts file. Now, next thing that we need is our configuration for the database. Now here we have some different ways of doing it. We have SQLite, Postgres, MySQL, and alternatively, and that's what we need, is to use some ORM. And in our example right here, we are going to use Drizzle. So I need this auth.ts, I'll copy it and I'll paste it inside of my auth.ts file. So here now is the perfect time to implement Drizzle. And how are we going to do it? We are not going to ask AI to do it for us without mistakes. We are going straight into the documentation of Drizzle. So here we are on the landing page, clicking on documentation and then get started. Now here we have a bunch of options, and what are we going to use here is Neon. So we'll click on Neon right here and we have everything that we need. Next steps for us is to install all the dependencies that we need. So we need Drizzle ORM, Neon Database Serverless.env, and from dev dependencies, Drizzle Kit and TSX. So let's just copy these pm commands and put it inside of our terminal. So now we installed everything and we need our database URL, our connection variable. And this is the thing where Neon makes it really easy for us. So we are just going to put this database URL inside of our env file, and we can now go to my Neon account. Here I'll just log in and you can see here all of my databases. I'll just create a new project and I'll call it TanStack Start Better Auth Starter. Create, and that's it. We have our database. So we can now connect using this string. So I'll just copy this string right here and I'll put it inside of my database URL. And I have to say, I'm doing this for this video only. You shouldn't share your environment variables with anyone. I just wanted to show you here the whole process, but I'll later replace this database with another connection string, also the Better Auth secret. So those shouldn't be shared with anyone. Let's continue. Let's return back to the Drizzle documentation. So right here, next step is to create our drizzle.ts file. So I'll copy this whole file right here, and I usually put it inside of the DB directory. So I create it in the root here, DB, and inside I create drizzle.ts. So here we have now our drizzle.ts file. We need to export this constant DB, and here we can add a string to remove this warning, and we have now our DB constant that we can use globally inside of our project. And now we need our schema. So that's the step 4 in Drizzle. We need to create our schema.ts file. We'll create it as well here in the DB directory. So schema.ts, but we have this schema already available from Better Auth. So we'll leave that one for later. We can return again to our documentation, and we need now our drizzle.config.ts file. So copy this whole file and we can put it inside of our root directory. So it's called drizzle.config.ts, and I'm pasting it in right here. We can just change here our schema. So it's not in the sources directory, it's just in the DB like this. Nice. So this one now looks good. And we finished basically our whole Drizzle configuration. Everything that is left is to push our database, but we first need to pick up from Better Auth our schema in order to do that. And as we can see, that's our next step, create database tables, and everything that we need to do is to run just one npx command, Better Auth CLI generate. So I'll run that one, and it will probably not work from the first time because we didn't change some things, yes. So no configuration file found, add auth.ts file. Let's see what's wrong with our auth.ts file. So I'm opening it, so we are not pointing to the right database. We need to import that one from Drizzle. And now let's remove also this comment from here to be clear. And now I think it will work. Let's try it out, generating our schema. And yes, we want inside of our auth schema.ts. It doesn't matter, we'll just copy paste it. That's it, it's generated. So let's find it. Auth schema.ts, there it is. I'll copy the whole thing and delete the file, and I'll go to our schema that we created and just paste the whole thing. That's it. We have the whole schema that we need. So we have our user table, session, account, verification, user relations, all the relations that we need, and everything is right here. So now we can return back to the Drizzle configuration, and everything that we need to do is just run npx drizzle kit push. So let's run that one, and let's hope for the best. Neon database serverless. We are connecting to our database and changes applied. So let's go to our Neon, and here, if we go to our tables, we can see that we have all the necessary tables for our authentication. So all the Better Auth tables from that schema are now applied here, and we have our database configuration ready. So we can now continue with our implementation. Let's get back to our Better Auth documentation. So we finished our database tables and everything. Now we need our authentication methods. So we need our email and password, that's for sure. And we need also social provider Google, but we'll add that one later. Let's first now finish the email and password thing. So we are going to auth.ts, and here beneath this database, we are adding email and password enabled true. So that one is telling us that we can log in and create our accounts through email and password. And now we have our mount handler. So we have here Next.js app router, Next.js pages, etc. And in the end right here before Expo, we have TanStack Start. So we need this thing to put it inside of our routes. So we need our API auth, and then here this $.ts, and I'll copy this whole file. So we need to create inside of our routes directory. So we're for the first time entering our routes right here, and there we need our new directory API/auth, and there we need $.ts, and here I'm just pasting the entire thing from the Better Auth documentation, and we just need to shoot here the right auth. And that's it. Are we good? We are not good. Now we are good. Awesome. So we can now actually handle all of our requests, and next thing is to create a client instance. So we are picking here for React, taking that one, and we are putting this again inside of our lib directory. So lib directory right here, and we are calling it auth.client.ts, and here we are just pasting the entire thing, and this is everything that we need for our client side in order to log in, sign up, or anything that we need from the Better Auth. And that's it. We finished the Better Auth implementation. Now we need to actually use it in order to create our authentication inside of our TanStack Start. And if we go here to integrations, we actually have a TanStack Start documentation, but I would say it's pretty weak, and I maybe even contribute to this one after this video because I created a couple of applications using Better Auth and TanStack Start, and this is not really like 100% correct. So let's now go and create everything as it should be, and everything needs to work like 100% properly. So first thing missing here that we need is the middleware in order to know which pages can we access and not. So we are going back to the TanStack Start documentation, and I'm searching for middleware. You can just open this by typing Command K, or you can go through search here, whatever you like. And I'm typing in middleware. So here we have just the core concept for our middleware. And it is really easy. We're just going to check if we have session or not, and based on that, decide if we can access that page or not. So let's see it in action. Here, inside of the lib directory, I'll create the middleware.ts file, and I'll just copy this whole thing. And we can remove from here this middleware right there. We can import, create middleware from TanStack React Start. And here for our server, this one needs to be async, and we need here our next and not next tick, next and request like this. Awesome. And we just need to return that response. So this one now looks good. We are still not checking the session right here. That's why we need this request right here. Let's just make it a little bit more readable like this, server, and then I sync down. Nice. This one is looking better. So now we can get our session by await auth from our auth right here. So this is the server side auth. This is not the client side, and API and get session right here. So now we can actually use our headers from our request like this, and it's not sessions, it's actually session. And if not session, we can just return here redirect. So it's throw redirect to login, and we are importing redirect from our React router like this. Nice. So now and here we can also put just return, no need for 2 lines of code right here. And this one now looks good. Although here we still don't have a login page. So that's really good from TanStack that it's warning us about this. So we can create now inside of our routes. So here, sources, routes, we can create login.tsx. And here we have our login page. And now if we return back to middleware, we don't have that error anymore. Only thing left now is to export this auth middleware like this. And I think it's more natural to put this bracket right here. Nice. So now we have our auth middleware ready and we can see if we have the session. If we don't have, we are redirecting to login, and if not, we are just returning await next, which is bringing us to our page. So now we can use this on our routes. And let's try it out if it is working. So we are going again to the routes. I'll create here a new page. So this will be our page that we don't have access if we are not logged in, and it will be dashboard page. And here we are going to server and we are going to add a middleware, and it's going to be our auth middleware. So let's try to access that page right there. So we are going back to we have some kind of error. Oh, we don't have. Awesome. So if we go to our dashboard, we are going to the login page. So we are being redirected, and Better Auth session check is already working. So let's now add our login, sign up forms, and everything that we need, buttons to make it a little bit more beautiful than this. And we are finally opening ShedCN documentation. From here, we just need a couple of things. So we are going to blocks and then to login. Here we have some really nice looking blocks that we can use easily. I'll use this one because here we have login with Google button and it's looking really like a classic. So I'll just copy this ShedCN add login 3 command and I'll put it inside of my terminal. And this one will add all the necessary dependencies and all the necessary components that we need in order to use this block. There it is. So we have button card, input, label, separator field, and we have our login form. So I'll go to my code and to my login page, and here we'll just put that login form. There it is, using that one, and here I'll put the main like this, and we need to style it a little bit. We'll just leave AI to do that for us. We'll just remove this hide screen, and I can put some padding top of 20 to move it a little bit down. I think this will look good. So let's try it out. We are going to our app, and here, instead of login, I'm going to dashboard. I'm redirected to login. Awesome. So this is what we have now. It's looking nice. I think this is more than enough for our form, and you can already see that it is giving me my email and password in order to log in, but we don't have that one set yet. So let's work on that one. So if we check now our login form, we can see where it is, login form. There it is. We can see that we don't have anything yet. We just have a form. We are not even having like some actions or something like that. So we need to fix that, and we need to put, of course, validation and everything that we need. In order to do that, ShedCN have us covered, and we'll open again the search. So you can put search documentation right here or Command K, and we are searching for TanStack form. There it is. Since we are in TanStack Start, we'll use TanStack form. And this one is pretty easy. So this is using the new field component from ShedCN. And this is, let's say, the most modern way to do it currently. And we now need to add first that field component. So here, instead of putting this login 3, we'll put in the field like this. And we're adding now our field component, and with it label, separator, and field. Awesome. And now we can just do it through this way right here. We can skip like this whole tutorial because we just need to put in inside of our already existing form, and that's right here. So we need also Zod. Let's add first this to our form. So we are inside of our login form, and I'll add our Zod schema. So we need to add Zod. Going to the terminal, pm add Zod. That one is done. Awesome. And now here we need actually email, and this one is not like this anymore, AI, sorry. So it's z.email, invalid email address, and we have a password. So this one is now good. And next step from here is to set up the form. So we'll just put this one inside of our component. So inside of our rendering part, we are putting the use form, and that use form is being imported from the thing that we don't have yet, and that's the TanStack React form. So we're adding that as well, that import. I'll add it on the top of this one, and I need to run pm add for that one as well. pm add TanStack React form, and use form is basically used from that import right there. Also here we can see that we need our toast. So let's implement that one as well. So we have here npx shadcn latest add field. We'll add now Sonar for our toast. And if we go here, I'll just open completely new tab, and we can go to Sonar just to see how is it implemented. So we already ran this command to add the Sonar, and now we just need to put toaster inside of our layout file. So in TanStack Start, it's not layout, it's actually root. So here we are adding beneath the children our toaster, and we are importing it from components/UI Sonar. Awesome. And now if we return back to our login form, this toast should be just imported from Sonar like this. Nice. Adding that one as well here on top. And now we don't have any more warning for that. We just have for the on submit. And that's because we still didn't put the schema down there. So let's handle that one. Changing here from title to email and to password. We removed that warning. And now we can just go and continue with our documentation from shadcn right here. So now everything that is left is to put in the right way all of our inputs. So where is that one? It is here. So we need to put it like this inside of the form field, and then name, children, etc. So I'll just copy this whole thing from here, and I'll put it above. Here it is, above this field right here. So let's just make a little bit more space so we can see everything. So we have here form field, and if we return back, we can see that that one is inside the field group. So everything is good. We should now just here replace email instead of title, and here as well, and also here. So field error, we need to import that one from our field component, and this one should be good. So let's now remove this field to see how does it look. Returning back to our application. So email field looking good. That's awesome. We can now do exactly the same thing for our password field. So I'm pasting the same thing, and we're just going to put password. Here for the input, we'll put type password. For this one also, we can put type email like this. Nice. And also here, changing the label to password and placeholder to these stars. And we can remove this field as well. Nice. Let's return back again. So now everything is looking normal. And in order for it to work, we need to get back to the documentation again. And here in the beginning, we need to put on our form this one. So we need on submit. We're searching here for our form. There it is. And I'll put that one. It's not bug report form, it's login form. And now we have just a couple more things to do from the shadcn documentation. So this form has this on submit and ID. We'll now go to our form right here, and we need to add that on submit, and we rename it to login form, and voila. Now we are ready to start using Better Auth right here. Let's just test first if everything is working fine with our form. So here, if I try to log in, we are getting the validation, so that's good. And if I put in my real data, login, yes. So we have here form submitted successfully. So that's good. That means that we are sending these values. So now we can here call our auth client. So we are going here, and we need to await our auth client, which we are taking from our lib, and we are going to sign in through email, just like this. So we have our email, which is value.email and value.password from our form. And now what we can do is we can also add on success. So we are putting in the toasters. If we success, we are going to say login successful, and on error, we're going to say login failed. So let's try it out. It should fail because we don't have our account yet. So login, and we see login failed. But we want here a custom message. We don't want to know just like login failed. That's not telling us much. We want to know that this user doesn't exist. And doing that is really easy. Here we just have to put the context and then just use the context error message. But let's check what's going to happen now. Now, this is one of the most often errors that you'll get. So now in login, we are not getting anything. And if we go here, we are getting that Better Auth Drizzle adapter, the model user, was not found in the schema object. So what's actually happening here? Drizzle is not recognizing our schema. So we need to go to our Drizzle and here to put in this schema right here. And we are going to import it from our schema. And now, if we go back again, if we refresh, and if we log in with my non-existing user, we are getting actually invalid email or password. So now we know what's going on actually right here. And let's now just continue. We need to create our user, so we need to implement signup, and also let's remove this login with Apple. We don't need that one inside of our form. So login with Apple, this button. Let's remove that one. And now we can create exactly the same thing, but for our signup. And of course, we need to change our auth client method. So let's copy this login form, and here inside of our components, I'll create the signup form .tsx, and I'll paste that one right here. Instead of login, we're going to call it signup, and also here, instead of welcome back, we'll just let AI to do all these things, signup form, etc. And we need to add here a new field, and that one is going to be our name. So we have email. Now we'll add here name. I remove the type email. Here I put the name, and also right here, John Doe, good enough. And we need to add it to our schema. So adding it here, name, and also to form schema right here. So we don't have any errors now. Awesome. And now let's go to our routes again. And here we'll create the signup.tsx. And here we'll put in the signup form just like this. And we need the same thing. Yes, AI. I love AI because of this. I use it for completions, not for vibe coding. So now he created exactly the same thing with padding on top of 20. And we can go to our signup page. There it is. So we have here our email, name, and password. And instead of this login, let's put in the sign up form here. So instead of login, we can say sign up. And where do we have login as well? Here. Nice. Okay. And now for our auth client, we need to use sign up like this. And we are putting in the name. Okay, this is really good. And one more thing I forgot to add in the login form, it's the callback URL. So we are going to lead to our dashboard page because that's the one that requires for us to be logged in. And let's add that one as well in the login form, auth client right here. We are adding the callback URL. And let's now go to our application and to try to create our user. So I'm adding here my theorcdev@gmail.com. I'll name myself OrcDev, and let's try it out. Here I'll create some password and I'll click sign up. Let's see what will happen. We are missing here our loadings, but sign up successful. Nice. And we are not being redirected to dashboard. I'm not exactly sure why, but we'll discover that one. And let's go to Neon to check if we have here our user. I'm refreshing and we can see that we have OrcDev user and email is not verified. I'll change this one manually to true. We'll do that in another video. I also have one video for Next.js for this one. If you want to take a look, it's really not that hard. So now we are verified and we can go and try to log in. And the reason why it was not redirecting, it was probably because I was not verified. So now let's go again to our login page through our dashboard page. Okay, so now we are actually logged in. So everything is working. We are already authenticated. We were authenticated automatically when we created our user. So let's now create here some logout button and maybe to change a little bit this header and these things. So this is our index file. Let's just go there to our index inside of our routes. I'll remove all these icons. I'll remove all these features and I'll remove basically everything from here. Nice. I'll add my main that is always the same like this, and we don't need a login form. We'll just add one button like this. And that button can be maybe login. Let's just lead that one to our login page. And we can put our link from TanStack React router to sign up and login. Awesome. Now this one should be good. We can just put a little bit of gap of, let's say 4, like AI said it. So if we go here, that one is working nice. And we now need to replace our header. So here inside of our header, I'll just delete this header right here, and I'll add a new header, header.tsx, and I'll just export header where we have this one. So we have flags justify between, that one is good. Item center, padding of 4, that is nice. Here we have this my app. I'll just put it to be a link like this. Nice. And now we can here put just a nav for login and sign up. Nice. But those will be the buttons from ShedCN. Yes, this one is now looking good. And if we go to our root, we are now here importing header from the wrong place. I'm always using kebab case, so not this Pascal. And if we now go here, yes, we have our header with our login and sign up. You can see it right here. And we want to replace this one with the logout button in case if we are logged in, which is the case now currently. So for that, we are going back to our header. And here we want to take our data session from the auth client and then use session like this. Nice. So now here we can decide, not like that, we want to decide it like this, not there, yeah, here inside the nav. So if we have a session, we are going to put not the link to the dashboard, we want the logout button right here, logout, and if not, we are just going to put this thing right here. So we are opening the fragments, putting it here, and ending our brackets. Okay, so let's test it out. We're going here. We have an error. Okay, we have hooks can only be called inside of the body. Okay, I made a mistake. This hook should be inside of our component like that. And now if we refresh, yeah, now it is working. And we're not seeing anything interesting because we have this as child. Let's remove that one. And now if we refresh, we can see, is it, oh, it's from the wrong as child. Here. Yeah, there it is. Logout button. So now we can see it. Now we need our logout function. And yeah, this is right. So we are calling auth client sign out from our Better Auth client. And we are putting it here on click for our logout button. And this end should be here like this. On click, and now our logout should work, except we need to put here the redirect if we want, of course. So here as fetch options like this. On success, we'll just use the navigate and to navigate to our login page like this. This should be good, except we need to just put in the use navigate from our React router like this. And now after our logout, we're going to be redirected to the login. So let's try it out. I'm refreshing here our screen. We can see that we are logged in. When I click log out, we are being redirected to our login. And we can see that now we have login and sign up. So that one is working good. Awesome. And let's try out now our login. So we have here my email and password. That one was remembered. And if I log in, we are successfully logged in and we are going to our dashboard page. So our authentication is working. Now, if I log out, going back to the login, and if I try to go to the dashboard page, I'm being redirected again to the login, so everything is working properly and we have our authentication for the email provider successfully implemented. Now what we need to do, we need to implement the Google provider. Let's make now our window again a little bit bigger so you can see everything, and we are going back to the Better Auth documentation. Now here we have our plugins, not plugins, we have our authentication methods, and we have here Google. So let's find it. There it is, Google provider. So we need to set our Google credentials. For that, we need to go to our Google Cloud Console. And here, as you can see, this one is a little bit confusing. Like it's not like Google is not really good with the documentation and everything. So here you can see all of my projects that I use for my Google providers, and we'll create a new project and I'll name that one TanStack Start Better Auth Starter, like this. And we'll not create any organization. So it needs to be between 4 and okay, Better Starter, like this. Nice. Okay, now we have that one and we can go to our credentials, and from our credentials we can here, we are still, as you can see on YouTube, to blog. I don't know why. So we need to change here to TanStack Start Better Starter. And now here we need to create our own API key. So for that one, we need to configure here our consent screen. And now we need to get started. Here we need our app name. So again, we're putting in TanStack Start Better Starter. I think it was like that. And for user support email, I'm just using the one from my Google here. And we need to put here external. Next, here for contact information, you just put in your email and then next. So here you agree to everything, continue and create. Now we created our consent, everything should be good, and everything that is left is to create our OAuth client. And that one, we are doing it here, web application, name, again, we are putting in TanStack Start Better Starter, and we need to add our URL for our authorized JavaScript origins. So we can see that one here inside the Better Auth documentation. It needs to look like this. So this is for our redirect URL, and we'll put exactly the same thing. So it's this one, and I'm putting that one. Okay, so that one is added, and let's see if we need to add anything else. So make sure to redirect URL to your application domain. So in case you're using some domain, of course, instead of localhost 3000, you have to put your actual domain. And now when that one is done, let's just delete this one and we can say here, okay, I got it, and we can create this one. Now, this may take a couple of minutes. You can see here, take 5 minutes, few hours for settings to take effect. But what we need is here for our environment again. We can return back to the Better Auth documentation. So we need to put in our client ID and our client secret to our environment file. Now again, don't share this with anyone, so this should be a secret. I'm showing this one to you now because I'm creating this video, but I'll delete it right after the creation of this video. So adding here Google Client ID and Google Client Secret, like this. And we are going back to my Google settings right here. So we have client ID, copying that one, putting it in my client ID, and we are going back to my client secret, copying that one and putting it to my client secret. That's it. That's everything that we need to do from Google. And now we just need to put in our provider. So going back to documentation, and here we need to put in social provider Google. So going to the auth.ts and beneath our email and password, putting the social providers with our Google provider. And of course, here your environment variables should match inside of your env file. So check here that it is exactly the same: Google Client ID, Google Client Secret, and in auth as well. So everything is good. That's awesome. And next thing is just to use it. So we need to put in this sign in function inside of our login form. I copied that one and we are going to our login form right here inside of our component. So we have sign in, we are using auth client from Better Auth. We can put in callback to dashboard. That's a good idea by AI. And we can now just put on click here on our button. And let's pray and let's see if it is working. So I'm refreshing this. I'm clicking login with Google. If we have enough luck, yes. So Google already did this thing. And I'm clicking on the OrcDev at Gmail. I'm clicking continue. So this is the consent thing that we were doing. We can see TanStack Start and we are successfully logged in into our application. We can see our dashboard and our logout here too. And important thing to know, it is working with the same email. So you don't have like two. If we check our neon here, we don't have repeated users here with our emails. So it's exactly the same user with that email. So that one is really good. And everything is now working properly. I really hope you enjoyed in this video, warriors. If you need anything, if you have any doubts, just tell me in the comments. I'm always answering the comments. And tell me also if you'd like to see some plugin or anything inside of this project. This one is available for you on the public GitHub repository. You have all the links in the description below. And for more content like this, join the mighty Horde, subscribe.